The wind howled across the endless prairie, rattling the wooden shutters of Caleb Hart's lonely ranch house as the sun sank behind the mountains, staining the sky with crimson and gold. Caleb stood on the porch, tall, broad-shouldered, his weathered face carved by years of dust, cattle, and silence. At 35, he had everything a man could earn with hard hands: 2,000 acres of land, the largest cattle herd in the valley, and a reputation that made weaker men step aside when he walked into a saloon. But there was one thing he did not have, and everyone in the territory knew it: a wife. The truth was simple and embarrassing. Caleb Hart had never learned how to live with a woman. Ranch life had hardened him, shaped him into a man who spoke more easily to horses than to people. Yet winter was coming, and the loneliness of the ranch had grown unbearable. So 3 months earlier, in a moment of quiet desperation, Caleb had done something he never thought he would do. He wrote to a mail-order bride agency in the distant East. But when he wrote the letter, he had been very specific. He did not want beauty. In fact, he asked for the opposite. "Send me a plain woman," he had written bluntly. "Someone quiet, hard-working, not interested in city nonsense or fancy clothes. I need a partner for this land, not trouble." Caleb had believed that was the safest choice. A plain woman would not stir dangerous feelings. She would work beside him, cook meals, help run the ranch, and life would remain simple and steady. That was the plan, until the stagecoach arrived. The rumble of wheels on the dirt road pulled Caleb from his thoughts. Dust rose in the distance as the stagecoach rolled toward the ranch house. Caleb felt a strange tension tighten his chest. He had faced stampeding cattle and armed rustlers without fear. Yet the thought of meeting the woman inside that coach made his palms sweat. "Just a plain girl," he muttered to himself. "Nothing complicated." The stagecoach stopped, the horses snorting and stamping. The driver climbed down first and nodded toward Caleb with a knowing grin. "Got something for you, Mr. Hart," he said. Then the door of the coach opened, and the world seemed to stop. A woman stepped down slowly, and the sight of her hit Caleb like a lightning strike. She was not plain, not even close. She was breathtaking. Her dark hair fell in soft waves around her shoulders, catching the sunlight like polished silk. Her eyes were deep and luminous, the color of storm clouds before rain. Her skin was pale and smooth, untouched by the harsh wind of the plains, and when she lifted her gaze toward Caleb, there was a quiet strength in her expression that made his breath catch in his throat. Caleb felt something inside him shift violently, something dangerous and unfamiliar. This woman did not belong to the quiet, simple life he had planned. She looked like trouble. The kind of trouble that could burn a man alive. The driver handed Caleb a folded letter and chuckled before climbing back onto the coach. "Good luck," he said, snapping the reins as the stagecoach rolled away, leaving Caleb alone with the stranger who was supposed to be his wife. The woman stepped forward and held out her hand politely. "My name is Elena Ward," she said softly. Her voice was warm and calm, but it carried a quiet confidence that unsettled him even more. "I believe you're Caleb Hart." Caleb stared at her hand for a moment, before finally taking it. The touch of her skin sent a strange jolt through his body, like electricity racing up his arm. He quickly let go, clearing his throat awkwardly. "You're not what I expected," he admitted. Elena raised an eyebrow, a faint smile touching her lips. "That doesn't sound very encouraging." Caleb rubbed the back of his neck. "No offense. It's just, I asked for someone plain." For a moment, Elena simply looked at him, and then, to Caleb's surprise, she laughed softly. "Ah," she said, "that explains the expression on your face." Caleb frowned.
"You're not angry?"
"Why should I be?" Elena replied calmly. "You asked for honesty. Now you have it." She glanced around the ranch slowly, the barns, the distant cattle, the endless open land, and then looked back at him. "But the real question is, do you still want a wife?" Caleb opened his mouth, but no words came out, because the truth terrified him. Standing in front of him was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen, and that beauty stirred something powerful inside him, something he wasn't sure he could control. Days passed, and Elena settled into ranch life far more easily than Caleb expected. She cooked meals that filled the house with warmth, helped organize the chaotic ranch accounts, and even rode horseback across the fields with surprising skill. But what unsettled Caleb most was not her beauty. It was her presence. Every time she walked into a room, the air seemed to change. Every time her eyes met his, a spark flickered in his chest that made him uneasy. Caleb had spent his life mastering discipline and control, but Elena made him feel something dangerously close to losing both. One night, as a storm raged outside and thunder rolled across the plains, Caleb found Elena standing by the fireplace, her hair loose around her shoulders as the firelight danced across her face. She turned slowly when he entered the room, and the quiet intensity in her gaze made his heart pound harder. "Why do you keep looking at me like that?" she asked gently. Caleb stiffened. "Like what?" "Like you're afraid of me," she said. Caleb stared at the fire, his jaw tightening. "I'm not afraid of you." Elena stepped closer. "Then what are you afraid of?" He turned to face her, and for the first time, the truth slipped out before he could stop it. "I'm afraid of what I might do if I stop pretending you don't affect me." Silence filled the room. The storm outside roared louder. But inside the ranch house, the world seemed to narrow to just the two of them. Elena's eyes softened slightly, and a faint smile appeared on her lips. "Caleb," she said quietly, "I didn't travel 2,000 miles to live with a man who's afraid to feel or something." Her words struck deeper than any bullet, and for the first time in years, Caleb realized the truth. The real danger wasn't Elena's beauty. The real danger was that he might fall completely, helplessly in love with her. If you enjoyed this dramatic story of passion, mystery, and unexpected love on the wild frontier, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss the next powerful story. Because the West was full of secrets, and some of them could change a man's life forever.